kids and hungry, I spend every Sunday just living good. Might do a little fishing, a little hunting on the weekend. With a bow I'll be sneaking back in the woods.
Morning guys, Dave Canterbury at the Pathfinder School out here at the Pathfinder School property, doing a little bit of a scout. Wanted to let you guys know that the new stainless steel canteen cup and stove are now on sale at the Pathfinder School's website, www.thepathfinderschoolllc.com. There is a limited number in this run, so be sure that if you want it now, you order it pretty fast because there'll be a limited number, and then we'll have another run coming in behind that. Again, retail price $79.99 for that unit. While we're out scouting today, we're going to go ahead and use that canteen setup to fix our lunch, collect our water, disinfect our water, and eat some food. So stay with me, guys. Okay, so we know we're going to be collecting water from a questionable source. We saw scat not very far up the trail from here. Animals are definitely using this stream, we know that. Now, under normal circumstances, I would probably just go ahead and drink this water. My advice to you is to disinfect this water by boiling. Generally speaking, I'll either boil or I'm drinking it. I don't mess around too much with chemical disinfection methods, but they are very good and something that you should consider carrying in your kit. The stream is flowing this way, so the stream's not deep enough for me to submerge my bottle to fill it up. But because I have this wide mouth on this canteen, it's going to fill a lot faster without that glub, glub, glub air bubble that you get from a smaller mouth. But I'm going to point my canteen or my collection device into the flow of the stream so that particles washing down will wash around my bottle and not into it. Got filled it up to a little higher than this seam. That's going to be enough water for me to have lunch with for sure, and it'll just boil quicker that way as well. Take this back to where I'm going to stop for lunch on the Scout and pick something to eat. You know what, you want to clear yourself a big area to start your fire, especially in eastern woodlands where you have a lot of leaves, sticks, and things of that nature. It's more important in the summer than in the winter, but it's important any time that you do that. So I've opened myself up an area here, and generally when I stop for a camp or lunch or whatever the case may be where I'm going to build a fire, I do it pretty close to a water source. That way I have that water in an emergency to put out the fire if I need to. I also have that water to put the fire out when I'm done using it before I walk away. And at the same time, I have the availability of water right there so that I can drink my fill while I'm stopped. The best canteen you've got is your body. Get all that water in there I can, and then move on and not worry about, trying to collect small amounts of water, boil it, and save it. I'll do that while I'm stopped to eat or snack or nap or whatever the case may be, and then I'm going to move on. So much deadfall around here, it's just like not a whole lot of fire prep is needed in this area because there's just so much deadfall out here to be picked up close by that I pretty much just get a little bit of a fire going and just add to it as I go, especially if I'm just trying to cook a quick lunch or something. Boil up some water, doesn't take any time at all. Okay, we got our water on the boil and she's rocking and rolling. That's good enough. Anything else is a waste of water. Let's get some lunch fixed. Okay, now I know I got good water here that's been boiled, so it's disinfected. Now I'm just going to shove that same stick, my bottle hanger, on it in the creek and let that water cool down in the creek. I've got some other water in the cup that I'm going to cook with, and this will be my drinking water when it cools down. I'll let that cool while I'm fixing my lunch. Okay guys, now I'm not getting real excited about building a big fire here. And when I use these pack stoves, I drop them right in the fire, right on top of a hot bed of coals, put my cup on top of that. And what I'll do is I'll feed some coals in underneath that thing to keep it hot in there, let that heat rise to that cup. But I'm not worried about building a fire underneath that pack stove. I'm using that for elevation to get that cup up above the base of the fire. So when I get a bed of coals, I'll just shove some coals up underneath there. Then I'll refeed the front of this thing with some smaller sticks, and I'll let it coal up again. When it does that, I'll put some more in there. But this water is almost boiling right now. So it's ready for me to start cooking in it as soon as it reaches a boil. Again, this is different water than what I had in my bottle, so I've got to boil this as well. So what I'm going to make is just a real quick and dirty snack. I've got a bag of Spanish rice here. I'm not going to use the whole bag. I have a bag of dried soup greens, and you can buy these at any bulk food store in big bags and then break them down into smaller bags like I have here. And it's got carrots and peppers and onions and greens and things like that in it. And then I've just got one of these Hickory Farm sausages that you get in gift packs. And you can find these at Dollar General stores and places like that, especially after the holiday season, big lots for like $1 a piece. They'll last almost forever. Throw a couple of these in your pack, and this is 2 or 3 days worth of meat that you can just cut small pieces off of, add it to your soup greens and your rice, and you've got a really good meal that's full of nutrients, full of vitamins, full of carbohydrates, and full of protein, all at the same time in a quick, simple meal. This is good for 1 cup of soup. So 3 or 4 of these I need. This is good for 2, 3, 4 meals. Same thing with this. It's good for at least 3 meals. So the only thing I'm having to replenish is this. Our water's just about ready to boil. So as soon as we get rolling bubbles in there, which we're real close to now, we're going to go ahead and put our rice in there first because it'll take the longest to cook. We want to put the longest cooking components in first. Then we'll follow that up with the soup greens. And the meat's good to eat just like it is, so all we're trying to do is warm it up, so we'll put it in last. And we're about less than 30 seconds from a boil here, so we're in really good shape. If I put the lid on here, we'd boil faster. Okay, now again with this pack stove, you can see that pack stove is down there in the coals, surrounded by fuel. So when I get some coals built up on the bottom, I'll shove them up underneath that pack stove in that vent hole to let that heat come up. But meantime, I've got that fire built all the way around that pack stove, heating up my lunch. So it's not a matter of you can only build fire in that pack stove and that's what you're limited to. I never use it like that. That's for use with synthetic type fuels, alcohol stoves, things like that, you do that. But if you're using this thing in a campfire like I do just to battle conduction and help your heat rise up through whatever you're trying to heat up, get that thing right on the coals and surround it by fire, just like this is. When I build up a coal bed, I'll shove some underneath and then I'll add more small sticks. I'm not trying to burn the forest down here, so I just need a very small fire. Once I've had this water boiling, now all I'm trying to do is cook. You can see I've got the rice in there now, and once it's ready, I'll stir it in just a second. When it's ready, I'll put in the greens. Okay guys, I think we're got our greens in there, got our rice in there. Everything's puffed up really nice and rehydrated. Now we're going to put some meat in there. And it's not going to be too long before we're going to be ready to eat. And I'm just going to cut this right in the plastic, just like this. Cut myself a few slices, peel it out of there, and put it in. Peeling it right out of the rind, busting it up a little bit. And I'm just going to put 4 or 5 pieces in there. I'm not trying to get too excited about it. I want to save some of this for the next meal. And I'll stuff that rind back on top and fold that plastic over it. Stuff that down in my food sack and it'll be fine. Okay guys, we're getting real close here. I'll show you what this looks like. Look at that. Rice, a few vegetables in there, some meat, nice thick hearty soup, vegetables, rice, and summer sausage. Let that steep for just a little while, let a little bit more of the water burn off. That broth is good for you too, for sure. Drink that right down and get your belly warmed up, especially in cold weather. So a couple minutes from now, we're going to pull that thing off the fire, check our water over in the creek, and we should be ready to eat some lunch. Okay guys, so you can see here's my pack stove, and I'm just going to pick that thing up with a stick, pull it out of the fire, and set it on the ground to let it cool down. Scoot everything in here to the center to keep me nice and warm while while I'm eating my lunch. Not going to add anything to it because I'm going to put it out when I leave. So I'm just going to take any sticks that are in the surrounding area and poke them up on top. If it didn't burn all the way, let it do its thing while I eat my lunch. Let the pack stove cool down. We'll be ready to go. Okay guys, so now we can sit down here on our bedroll and enjoy a good lunch. You know, a lot of folks worry about, you know, oh, how am I going to clean the black off that canteen cup and that canteen and all that sticky stuff that's on there from the resins in the wood. I'll show you as soon as I eat my lunch. Oh man, that's finer than frog hair right there, boys. Dandy fine. Ooh man, that's good eats right there. Fellas, we're done eating here. I'll show you how to clean this stuff up. Right now, I'm gonna enjoy my lunch. Okay guys, so let's talk about cleaning this stuff. Pretty simple process really. You know, the canteen's got a lid on it. I don't have to worry about getting any of the water, you know, reintroduce the pathogens by putting this canteen in the water. So all I'm going to do is grab some of the sand and just scrub this thing off real quick, just like this. And I'm not trying to get this thing crystal clean, guys. All I'm trying to do is scrub any residue off of it that might be sticky from resins in the wood. That's all I'm doing. I could care less if my canteen's black or silver. In fact, I'd rather have it black, to be honest with you. If I wanted a signal mirror, I'd carry one. But it's going to turn nice and black on you after you've had it in the fire a few times anyway, and you'll be fine. Okay, so that's good enough for me on the canteen. Same thing with the cup. Now I know what you're thinking. You just reintroduce your cup to waterborne pathogens. Well, I'm going to cook in the thing anyway before I'm going to drink out of it again. I'll drink out of the canteen. So it doesn't matter. Again, same thing with the just sand out of the creek is enough. And I'm not trying to get the thing spotless, like I said. I'm just trying to get any sticky residue off of it and nothing more. So I don't really care if it's perfect. I'll even use dirt on the inside to clean up any food residue that's in there. And then just rinse it out really, really good. Just like that. Make sure there's no food left in there. A couple grains of rice. And the edges there, we'll get those out. Feel it, make sure that we got any residue off of it that we wanted to get off of it. That's fine with me. Close enough, okay. So now we're ready to put our pack stove back on there. Get this thing packed up and go. I'll wipe it off with this rag just to make sure there's no sand or anything going into my cup. I'll wipe the cup out real quick too, just like this. Okay, put my stove on, ready to rock. Pour water on my coals, make sure my fire is good and out. I'm not going to put leaves and things over top of this and bury it, because if it were to smolder and come back to life, all those leaves would be dried on top of there and catch fire. So I'm not going to walk away from it until it's no longer smoking. Stomp it all into that puddle really good. That's good enough for me. I would put my rag underneath that heavy cover lid, but it's a little bit damp. So I'm going to let it air dry while I'm walking. Get my stuff together and I'm ready to go. Guys, I'm Dave Canterbury at the Pathfinder School. I enjoyed sharing my lunch and my short scout with you guys today. And also enjoyed giving you a few tips and tricks about, you know, water collection, fire, using the canteen set to cook with and things of that nature. I appreciate everything you do for me, for my school, for my family, for all my friends and Pathfinder affiliates. We all thank you for your views and your support. I'll be back in another video as soon as I can, guys. Thanks.